That was not the cliffhanger I expected to get in this week's episode of Assassination Classroom. I expected this type of cliffhanger to honestly be in next week's episode. And now looking at this episode, I think I know how next week's episode is going to end. And that's going to be a bad cliffhanger. That's probably going to be a bad cliffhanger. So, I gotta talk about something. You remember how last week I was talking about how I felt like something was missing or skipped? I talked about that. Well, it was confirmed. A couple of Chibis confirmed it for me because I was feeling like something was skipped. Yes, there was stuff skipped, and after seeing this episode, I would mention it for the first time if I didn't last week. There was something skipped. Now, before anime only start freaking out, it's nothing, so to say, important. Like, it wasn't anything that you really need to see. I mean, it would have added more depth to some of the things, but it wasn't nothing important. And let me explain what it was, since now we're already past the scene, and it'll add more clarification to what I was talking about. So the soldiers that our E-class was fighting, like on the mountains, okay, before they made it into the barrier, there was supposed to be some backstory to those soldiers that they were fighting, and we didn't actually get to see the characters that were in the manga, that were built up, and they weren't built up for a long period of time, no, they were kind of introduced into this final portion of the series, and then we were shown how strong they are, and then how, you know, Karma had to go up against him with the efforts of everybody else, and it added more characterization for Karma, but at the end of the day, these characters weren't nothing really important, so I could kind of see why the studio decided to skip it, because I felt like they wanted to kind of make it more focused on the entire end event with Koro-sensei. You know, Koro-sensei, and you know, how we're either determining if he's going to live or die or not, and I feel like that's exactly what they wanted to focus on, instead of focusing on something like that, which it makes sense, but in terms of what happened though, it was nothing vital. I could deal with it as a person that is a fan of having the anime adapt panel by panel. I could accept this change. I can actually accept this change. I'm upset, yes, I won't, you know, deny that, but it's nothing like Tokyo Ghoul, for instance. It's not like skipping important meaning and shit that pisses me off. No, it's not like that. It's not to that level. So I look past it when it comes to that. So moving past what they skipped, the first half of the episode is mainly, I guess, the final happy comedy moments that we're going to get before the series kind of wraps up with its epilogue, and I love how the episode does that. It's very different from the final half of this episode. We have it to where first half shows, you know, the entire group working together, overcoming a lot of things, and showcasing how much they've learned from Koro-sensei while they've been spending time with him for this entire year, and it's a really heart-touching moment throughout the first half of the episode, because you're thinking, like, this makes me smile and happy. I mean, all this, you know, all these memories I've had watching this series, reading this series, and then also all the students of how they spent time with Koro-sensei. It's a very sad moment, because you realize that the year is finally almost at an end. The deadline is here. And when you see that, you're like, damn, this is pretty fucking sad. And when you see, you know, how they all wrapped around there, like, doing a happy birthday for Koro-sensei, I got some feels. Deep down, I got some really good feels right there. I was like, bro, that's some feels. And I would sing happy birthday, but, you know, copyright and shit, you know how that, you know, it goes with the happy birthday song. So that moment, I was so sad, because I was like, damn, this is emotional, because, I mean, Koro-sensei, he's getting to celebrate his first birthday with his students, and, I mean, how his birthday was given to him on the day with the person he loved. It was just a really great moment, the first half was. But then I like the execution on it when all these happy moments were happening. You have this tentacle come out of the forest and just stab the cake, and the cake was destroyed. It kind of let us know that the games have ended. The happiness is over. Let's begin the final serious assassination. But that's exactly what that kind of meant. It was like ringing the bell of a match. And what I love about Assassination Classroom was that it's a series that is not actually a battle shonen. And I love how that's kind of incorporated into the series, especially with how the ending was done. Because I don't feel like the mangaka actually intended it to be mean that way, but that's how I kind of interpret it in some ways. See, majority of Assassination Classroom is about a coming-of-age story, or just learning from your teacher and becoming a better person amongst your journey throughout society. And it's been a lot of life lessons and stuff like that. It's nothing that is always retained or focused on action. There's action here and there, but Assassination Classroom is not focused on that. And what I find very funny about this is that the final part of Assassination Classroom, or the final boss, is going to be an actual fight. It's going to be something you see from normal shonen. A match, a final battle. And I love how Koro Sensei says, like, sometimes students, when you have to run away, or an assassin's job is to never get into a situation where he has to fight like this, sometimes you need to avoid it, or you need to always avoid it, because he said this in the past. Avoid fighting. That's the assassin's, like, worst thing to ever do. Don't ever fight. And then, when he says this is the time for your teacher to actually fight, and then the, episode ends, I'm like, bro, that's so badass, because that means that Koro Sensei finally, for the first time throughout the entirety of the series, we're gonna get to see him go all out and fight. He's going to go in and fight to save his life. He is not going to go down. He wants to stay alive. I love that scene so much. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.